Alright, so it's all done. Didn't take me very long. I guess I'm a relatively fast mechanic, I don't know. But the line TB40 built beautifully. Also has like one of the nicest and easiest to put on and off canopies. I mean, it just comes right off. It's a beautiful thing. So build was, I don't know, probably under 5 hours, I guess. But I went with MKS Micros. There's a guy on eBay that sells them for $20 a pop. It's kind of hard to beat that. The Hobby Wing 60 amp. On the tail, I had a KSD DS565X. I was going to throw a Theta in there, but this one was already easier for me to get out of a helicopter, so I went with that one. I'm using HRB 1800 batteries, and I've only got 3 flights on this, I think. You can see it's not the easiest thing in the world to wire up one of these things. You can't really go inside the frame, so you just kind of have to do the best job you can on the outside. I'm not one of those believers in all the wire armor and all the other stuff. It's just too much work. So the motor for a 400 is just huge. I mean, that is a big motor. It's a 3220 1100 kV, and it's just monstrous compared to other ones. And it definitely felt like it had a lot of torque, but like I said, I'm kind of a beginner at this, so it's hard to say. So let's go over the build. The manual's great. It's in black and white. Let me say the manual is not great. The manual's good. It doesn't go too much into detail in certain areas that you think maybe it should. Like, it doesn't talk about how, well, when you can't really see it in this, but I talked about it. The rear pin that goes through the anti-rotation, I thought there was something wrong with it because it's at an angle. But it turns out, according to some people on the interwebs, said that that's a design feature. It's on the TB60 and the TB70 as well. So it would have been nice if they had said something, because when you build it and this pin isn't directly in line with the boom, it kind of makes you think there's something wrong with it. Nice thick main shaft, but I think that's normal for them. Also all aluminum head, which is nice. And man, I keep going back to it and I don't finish my sentence. The build couldn't have gone any easier. Absolutely everything fit perfectly. There were no drilled holes. There were no holes that were too small. There's a lot of neat features, like this plastic piece is molded in, and if you can see through the frame, you can see that the nuts to hold the side frames in are captured, so you don't have to hold them on with a wrench or anything. They just sit in there, so you just go right in with these and boom, tighten it up. Hi Indy. So got a cat visitor. The tail as well is all aluminum. Sorry for that. And it's kind of tricked because it has dampers. Now, one thing I have to go back and look, and it says that it comes with carbon fiber tail fins, and these are clearly not carbon fiber. They're black. They're just plastic. It's definitely something where it's not quite accurate in the on the description, but you know, we'll let it live. I think for sure for like a newcomer building it, there's no problem because it goes together so nicely. One thing for sure is every single thing comes pre-assembled. The head's pre-assembled, the tail was pre-assembled. You got it, and every screw was in its place where it should be. So all those things need to come out, cleaned with alcohol if you can, and then put in with good old Loctite. Now, I went ahead and used red only on a couple of grub screws. I did this one in the tail rotor. That one's red Loctite. Man, I can't remember what the other thing I put in with red Loctite. Oh, I put the grub screw on the pinion in with the red Loctite, and then the 4 motor screws that hold it to the adjustment plate, those are red Loctite. Everything else I use blue. And if you don't already know, when you use red Loctite, when it's time to take it off, it's good to heat up the metal with a heat gun or put a soldering iron onto it, touch it onto it till it gets hot, and apparently that allows you to pull red Loctite out, which is super important on small M2, M3 screws, because you could just snap them off inside. Then you lose an entire piece of CNC aluminum, which is very sad. So Another couple things I wanted to point out that I remembered. The ball studs that are in this, all of these, they're so smooth, which means there was no polishing needed. I just put them in. And they have already, all of them have just loosened up beautifully with no work of squeezing them with pliers or anything like that, which is kind of nice. The fact that they're so well matched with each other. And the tail is also super, super, super free. As you can see, it takes nothing to do that. I would say that as smooth as those are, the main shaft and the rear rotor, or not the rear rotor, the shaft in the back, aren't the smoothest in the world. So I'm thinking that they're going to kind of work themselves in. I could have hit them with some polishing compound, but I decided not to because I really wanted to finish it. And I think that's it for a review. No complaints whatsoever, no parts missing. I got one extra washer in the grips for the retention screw. So I got one extra washer. That was the only error I found in the whole kit so far.